Hey guys, here's a quick tutorial on how to use NMS Planetary Map Designer. This tool, you can find it on edge.io and you can use it to in No Man's Sky to find like what's the best spot where to put your base such that it reaches both your electrical source and your mining spots and wherever you want to deliver those mining spots, wherever you want to deliver those resources using your supply pipes, because as we know, you can't really connect electricals or pipings between buildings that belong to separate bases. It has to all be within the perimeter of one base and belong to one base. So ideally you want to put that base dead center in the middle of all your resources and points of interest such that it covers all of them with your extended 1000 unit radius. And it's very hard to figure out where to put your base in such a situation. You run the risk of placing it wrong. The game doesn't really give you any ways to place it properly. So a 3D representation of your mining spots and your bases helps you a lot, and this tool allows you to create such a 3D representation using only the distances that are shown in game. You know how when you look towards a base, you hover your cursor over it, it tells you this base is 5,000 units away from you or 200 units away from you, whatever. And I'm going to show you exactly how to use that. How to use this tool and those distances reported in game to create a very accurate 3D representation, and then further use that representation to place your mines. So without further ado, run game. I recommend you use full screen for this. Now hopefully the user interface isn't too overwhelming. There's a lot of information here, but it'll all make sense in a second. So let's say you have a base, a main base. Let's represent it in this tool, and the way you do that is you input the name of the object you want to add, and there's a bunch of types of objects you can add. You can add a base, or you can add different mines. I'll add further types later if I see people interested in this tool and actually using this tool. In the meantime, you can use one of these to represent any kind of resource you want. They're just purely visual. The base is a bit different, and you'll see in a second. Since this is the first thing we're adding, we don't need to add any distances yet. We don't need to use any of these options yet. Let's just add our main base. Add new using above distances. Okay. And here we go. This is our main base we just added. You can see the name of the selected object here. There's actually 4 markers on it. It's our main selection marker, which is the white cube. And then we have 3 other markers, green, red, blue, and yellow. Well, that's 4 markers. They're used for anchoring and for triangulation, and I will explain how that works in a second. Because we added a base, we will be shown 2 spheres. The inner one representing the inner radius, the main radius of the base, which is 300 units. And this one is, the bigger one is the extended radius, which can be extended up to 1000 units. So we will always want resources to be within this extended radius, within 1000 units. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's say you found a copper source somewhere, and you want a copper mine there, and let's say your copper is, I don't know, S grade, your copper mine. Now the way you add this is, since this is the second thing you're adding, we obviously don't have enough reference point to do any kind of triangulation. We only use our main base as a reference point. So what you do in game is you go to wherever this copper mine is, and you look towards your base and figure out what distance that is. Let's say your base is around 900 units away from copper mine. What you do is you make sure all your markers are set on the main base, and they will always report the name of what you set them on here. So red markers on main base, green markers on main base, blue markers on main base, yellow markers on main base. And our copper mine is 900 away from our main base. We do this, we press the new button, and there we go. We are added a copper mine, and it's 900 units away from the main base. So as you can see, it is slightly within the radius of the blue sphere. Now of course there are infinite potential positions where this can be used, this can be spawned. Like if it spawned here, it would still be 900 away from the main base. That's why it adds it in a random position, because it doesn't have enough references, enough markers to lean on to fix it firmly in one spot. So if you press update again, it will be placed somewhere else. And probably what you'll want to do is you'll want these to be kind of in a horizontal plane, the first two, and if they're not, you can just press update repeatedly until they are, roughly until this is placed in a convenient position. Okay, now let's say you also found an iron mine, so a ferrite mine, B grade. Not the best, still good enough. Alright, let's say you found this. Unfortunately, this is outside your main base radius. So, I don't know. Let's say 1300. Okay. It's not a base. Let's make sure this is ferrite. And add. So as you can see, this is slightly outside. So what you usually want to do when resources are slightly outside your main base, but you still want to deliver this. Let's say you have a gate here at the main base, and you want to deliver your ferrite to it. What you want to do is you want to add a base in between them, another base that will encompass both your destination and your source, and that is like a routing base, and you can use that to route the resource. But you don't want to put too many, like you don't want to crowd it with too many bases. Then your entire mining operation gets super complicated. You want to use as few well-positioned bases as possible. So before we try to route this to the main base, let's maybe add another resource. Let's say gold mine S. And since it's S, we really want to extract this one. We want to tap into this one as well. Let's say this is I don't know, around 1630 away from your main base. Alright, it spawned very far away from our copper. Let's try this again. All right, this is okay. This is okay. Now, of course, if this is only using one reference point, but we have two, so it's a good idea to now anchor this to this as well. So what you're going to want to do in game is you're going to want to go to your gold mine, and you're going to want to look towards your copper mine and figure out the distance between them. And after you do that, you will want to use the copper mine as a reference as well. And let's say you go in game and the game tells you, well, the copper mine is 1,400 away from your copper mine. We input that, we update, and we make sure we wait for it to stabilize this position. It's going to stop somewhere, and when it stops calculating, you'll see this little warning sign that it has here. It will disappear. Bam. That warning sign disappears when the distances to its anchors, like right now our gold mine is using two anchors, the main base and copper mine. Well, it's using 4 technically, but they're set to the same anchor points. So red and green are set to our main base, blue and yellow are set to our copper, and of course the distances here. And if you press update, the tool is going to start to calculate, well, now what is the position that satisfies these distances. And of course, since we're only using 2 reference points, the possible solutions are still infinite. All the solutions are basically a circle around these 2 points, not a sphere, a circle, a disk. So you're going to want to press update until you get a position that's still roughly horizontal with these. It doesn't matter much. The first 3 points, their positioning doesn't matter that much. They will dictate the rotation of your entire representation later. But yeah, once the visual position of this thing is at these distances that match these, the warning sign disappears. You will have cases where the warning sign never disappears. Like for example, if we put 0 here, there is never a solution where this can be 0 distance away from your copper mine, but 1030 away from your main base, because the distance between red and blue, so between your base and your copper mine, is blue and green, it's 900, and you want it to be 1630. So it can't satisfy this condition. It's mathematically impossible, and in that case the warning sign never disappears. So if you ever encounter a situation where your warning sign never disappears, it means there's a problem here with distances. You probably measured it wrong. It can't really find a solution to the constraints you're giving it. Anyway, let's find a nice horizontal position for this guy. Let's try a few more times. Alright, this looks good enough. Oh, I think I added. Oh, this was the iron one. I accidentally modified the position of the iron instead of gold. We can just add a gold one. And let's re-add iron line, I don't know, B or something. Alright. I don't know, let's say this one's oh dear, I messed up again. This one's slightly out, and okay, this is gold. Let's add the ferrite. Trying to get it. Alright, I guess this is good enough. So as you can see, our ferrite and gold are both outside the main base's radius. What we're going to want is we're going to want a base somewhere in the middle to deliver all of this stuff to our main base. Let's call this a routing base. So in order to do that, we'll probably want it somewhere in the middle of all this stuff. So if we take a look, the middle, and we want to find the middle, we can just set each of these anchors, and we can set the distance to 0. That way the gold mine will try to get as close to each of these as possible, and it will end up roughly in the middle. And here we go. Here we have our, sorry, this is called a routing mine, not a gold mine. There we go. Alright, routing mine ends up in the middle. Of course, the exclamation mark does not disappear because it's trying to get to 0 distance from each of these, and obviously it can't satisfy that condition. So if you want to get rid of this and you want to really anchor it for good, you can just click on these again and it will report the actual distances it ended up at, and then you can update, and there you go. And this is how you can use the tool to find out where to place your bases such that they encompass different resources that you have in No Man's Sky. You can also use it for mapping purposes, so you can, you know, take a look at the overall layout of your base in 3D representation, see where everything is at, maybe you see your mining spots are here, 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 and here. That means maybe you want to wander off and scan these areas where your mine isn't extended and see what's there. So it allows you to also know where to go so that you can discover more mining spots that might still be within delivery range of your main base. I hope this tool was very useful for you. It certainly is useful for me. I made it because I felt the need for such a tool. I couldn't find anything online that did this kind of triangulation based on just distances, plus the visual representation. Oh, and one more thing, you have saving and loading. Let's say we save this to slot 1, and let's load 2, 3, 4, 5 slots. These are empty. Can load 1 back up, and you have your base again. So yeah, saving and loading works as well. Controls are here. You can rotate with WASD, E and Q for zoom in, zoom out. Yeah, that's it. I hope you're enjoying this tool, and let me know in the comments section here or on itch.io or wherever else you find this tool. Just drop me a line if you like this tool. Say thank you. This way I know that it's worth investing more time in this tool, potentially. Perhaps add more of these types here, better graphical representations. Who knows what other features? If you have features in mind, just leave them in the comments. Okay, thanks for watching and good luck with the tool. I hope it helps. Bye bye.